Hey folks, today we're going to be taking a look at Solus 3, Mate edition to be specific. Now this isn't too far along from my last distribution review of a Solus distribution, but that was with the Budgie desktop, and the Budgie desktop is designed for the Solus distribution, and it felt very bespoke, it felt very natural, it was very good looking and functional, and it ran really smoothly as well. So today we're going to be lining it up against the Mate desktop, which is billed as a little bit more responsive on older hardware, more customizable, and more suited to perhaps more advanced users or users that are a bit more experienced with customizing their desktop environment. And of course, Mate desktop itself has a pretty strong following. I mean, I'm certainly a very big fan of it myself. So the majority of this review is probably going to be a comparison between this and the Budgie desktop. I reviewed the Solus 2 version, but Solus is a very consistent distribution. It's very consistent in its quality, updates process, all that kind of stuff, and it felt like a very natural transition from Solus 2 to Solus 3. In fact, to be honest, you probably really wouldn't notice it unless someone pointed it out. Even if then, it was very smooth, very consistent, and that's great. That's fantastic. So the biggest difference between the Mate desktop, and they've actually kept the Mate desktop really quite consistent with the design, not just in terms of the visual theme. You've got the arc theme here, which I think looks lovely, and you've got a dark variant, which also looks nice. But they've even brought in the brisk menu, which is the menu that was first seen on the Budgie desktop. So this entire look is very similar to the Budgie layout. And in Solus 3, they've moved the default position of the Budgie panel from the top to the bottom. So, yes, if you're picking up the Mate version, there's a good chance that you probably want to customize your desktop. So let's have a look at some of the options here. Now we've got the Mate control center here, and we've got the Mate tweak tool. Now, one thing that I do want to point out is that you do get a choice of window manager. You actually get to crack open Compiz if you want some GPU accelerated desktop effects. Now, as you can see here, we've got Marco with and without compositing, but only software compositing, and Metacity with or without compositing as well. Now, I did find that when I was using the software compositing, that it was spinning up the fans a lot more, and I think that's probably because it was leaning on the CPU quite a lot. So when I switched over to Compiz, I turned off all the fancy effects because no one's got time for that. But just using the Compiz as the window manager seemed to work really nicely, and the fans still spin up from time to time, especially if I'm doing something with HD video, but for the most part it's a significant improvement. The fans may spin up a few times during this review, and that's simply because I am recording. I am reviewing this and have been using this on the Entroware Triton, which is the entry-level laptop model, and it has the processor, the one down from an i5, so it doesn't have the fastest processor. And to be honest, I mean, this is a specific testing machine, so it has low-end hardware by design. But if I was to go back and get the Entroware Triton, I probably would look at how much a processor upgrade was, because, like with multimedia stuff, you really kind of want a decent processor, and this certainly does the job, really. But who doesn't like faster processors, eh? So yeah, you've got plenty of customization options here with the Mate tweak. You can do the panels, desktop backgrounds, icons. I usually turn off the icons. So you've got the options there. And you've got plenty of options down here in the control panel as well. So as you can see here, we've got simple screen recorder up in the software center. I really like the software center. It's really intuitive here. If you go home, it's just simple. It's categories. You've got some games there. I think main games collection. You can try and find Steam. You've got Steam there. You've got GNOME Twitch if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff. And it even has the itch client. Oh, that's great. That is great. So it's got the itch client there. I haven't tried that out. It's a nice little Electron app, and I do believe the itch.io client, yeah, it is open source. It's an open source Electron app, if I'm not mistaken. And they even package it in deb package files and RPM package files on their website. So yeah, itch.io is it's really Linux friendly if you're looking for indie games, and there are a lot of Linux game jams that happen on itch.io. So it's really nice to see that Solus have included that. Obviously, this isn't going to be the laptop that I use for gaming, but yeah, nice to see it there. really consistent, really nice, and this is the same software center that we see in the Budgie desktop version as well. This is KeyPass XC, and as you can see here, what is this built on? Is it GTK or Qt? It doesn't seem to say, does it? Unless I'm missing something. No. KeyPass X is usually on Qt, but to be honest, it doesn't matter. If you've got a Qt application, GTK application, all of the applications on, it seems all Solus distributions are really consistently themed, and that's something that I really like. That little attention to detail, it makes more of a difference than you might initially think. It's like, oh, well, you just have to tweak this application here if you want it to look consistent, or tweak that there, tweak that there. And, you know, it's just an extra level of thing. And when the sort of the time has clearly gone into just making sure that the little things are taken care of, it makes the world of difference. And that's what makes Solus feel like such a polished desktop experience, even with a desktop environment that's designed to be customizable, that seems to lean towards slightly more sort of advanced users, or users that are more inclined to customize as well. But at the same time, any user, you know, like a first-time Linux user could just pick this up and get going with it. It's got the brisk menu, which we first saw in the Budgie desktop, and it's a good menu. It's really fast. So as you can see, I've popped open a couple of applications here. This is Kaja, the file manager. It's a good file manager. I've always liked using it. And that's the standard Mate file manager. I've got VLC here, which is a Qt application, and as you can see, looks very consistent. One of the things that is worth noting about Solus 3 is that they have support for snap packages. Now, I installed LBRY, which is a video LBRY. There we go. And I installed LBRY via Snap. I'm not going to pull it up now because it takes a while to sort of load up and get ready, because it is it's a video platform, basically. It's an open source video platform that uses, I believe, blockchain technology to distribute videos. It looks really, really promising, but it's certainly in its very early stages right now. And yeah, I installed that with the Snap package manager with zero problems. The Snap packages do not have the consistent theming because, as I understand it, Snap packages are a lot more self-contained, they're a lot more sandboxed, and that would include the themes as well. So you're not going to get the exact same visual consistency across the board than you might do if you had if you installed it from the software repositories, but they still look good and it still works well, and it's, you know, it's easy and straightforward. So you know, once we get more snappy packages, the software available for Solus is going to expand a lot more. Now, a lot of people do say that the software packages in Solus distributions are somewhat limited. They don't have the same amount of packages that you might get in something like Ubuntu. But truth be told, Solus has everything that I need. I have yet to actually, you know, look for a piece of software that that isn't here on Solus. And with snaps, you know, that usability is extended further. So I do like the fact that Solus remove a lot of clutter. They get a lot of stuff that's not needed, and that makes a big difference as well, because it does streamline the user interface, it streamlines the experience, it takes away, you know, unnecessary faff and what have you, and it gives you exactly what you want, what you're looking for, an intuitive desktop experience. So yeah, I mean, the values and work ethic behind Solus have resulted in really one of the best distributions you can get these days. I mean, Solus is the distribution to watch. It's been up and coming for a while now, and it's really making huge strides. People are singing its praises left, right, and centre, and you can really see why. This is the distribution that a lot of people I know have been waiting for. And I mean, I gotta say, it does seem that we're living in something of a golden age of Linux distributions. And, you know, when you see things like, I was reading an article today that Linux has reached a new high in terms of its user share. And with distributions like Solus, it's no wonder why. It just makes life easier. It's easy. It's fantastic. And I couldn't sing its praises highly enough. Now, I don't even think I could tell you which distribution I prefer, Solus over I'm sorry, Budgie over Mate. I probably would go with the Budgie desktop on the basis that it is bespoke and built specifically for Solus. It's also a little bit more, it's a little bit more modern, whereas Mate is quite old, especially if you trace it back to its GNOME 2 roots. And Budgie does seem to make better use of the GPU, whereas Mate does seem to be a little bit more CPU intensive, and I think that just might be possibly because of the window manager options or what have you. But yeah, overall, fantastic distribution. Really didn't have any problems with it. I gotta say, like, I feel that this review is going to be a bit short and a bit basic. If there's anything about the Solus operating system, Solus distribution, that I haven't covered in this video, check out the last review with the Solus Budgie desktop, because that covers the distribution level stuff, and it's all pretty consistent. And that's the thing I like about Solus. It's this consistent quality, consistent upgrades. And it seems to cover everything that we're looking for in a distribution. Absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see what this grows into. I mean, this all seems feature complete, but then, you got Ike being brought on full time, and he's incredibly excited about a lot of, about the direction in which Solus is moving as well. So hopes are high. Hopes are high. Let's just hope that the expectations can be fulfilled. But it does look good, and it does look promising. Man, this really is a golden age of Linux distributions, I can tell you. So, I recommend, give it a spin, even if it's just in a virtual machine. Mate, Budgie. I have in the past been a little bit critical of distributions that do bring out multiple desktop environments. Sometimes I have, sort of considered the easiest or the path of least resistance to be for a distribution to pick a desktop environment and then just sort of zero in on it and focus on it. But with Solus, I mean, the Budgie desktop, consistent, looks great, looks elegant. Same with Mate. Now, I haven't tried out the GNOME version, but I think I'm going to have to at some point. And of course, I do hear that there is a KDE version in the works, so it'll be very interesting to see what becomes of that. So, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, of course. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I've been Chris Ware, and you've been awesome. Take care now.